Hello everybody, my name is John Cleveland. What I'm going to be showing you today is your Biomatrix kit for all you master distributors, authorized distributors and dealers. I'm going to show you your Biomatrix kit, what's in it, and pretty much a walkthrough instructional demonstration of how to do the presentation, the do's and the don'ts. This is your bag. It's got all the compartments to hold all your stuff. We'll put everything back in there when we're done here. But we've got 4 different containers. These will come in your bag empty. The first one's got yellow paint. It is 1/3 oil base. Make sure it's oil base. You don't want the water base. You want, or the latex, you want the oil base paint. And mix that 1/3 oil-based paint to 2/3 solvent. Now the solvent I like to use is the odorless, and you can also get that at any store, any hardware store will sell the odorless version. So you're going to mix 1/3 oil-based paint with 2/3 of your solvent. You're also going to want to have a separate container of solvent because this is going to emulate the fuel test, as opposed to gasoline and diesel, which are very the fumes will very toxic and can fill up a room. This is a lot more friendly to use. Third, you want to use used diesel motor oil, not gasoline motor oil, but diesel. The dirtier the oil, the better, but make sure you get it out of a diesel truck. The semis are usually the best. Go down to your truck stop, ask them to fill up a 5-gallon bucket for you. You know, they've got thousands of gallons of that stuff. It's pretty easy to come by. Next, transmission fluid, just standard ATF fluid. That's your 4th bottle. You want to get a bottle of water. I prefer the bigger ones versus the small ones because you don't have to fill it as often. You want clear plastic cups. Now I would normally just say go to any grocery store, but you may have to shop for these. You don't want the ones that are frosty. You don't want the ones that are opaque. They've got to be crystal clear so you can see through them when you're showing the bubbles and you're showing the test. You want them to be able to see clearly through those. I get these at Sam's Warehouse. It's a low ball cup. For $10 you get like 1,000 of these. So that's the way I recommend going on the plastic cups. Paper towels. You want Bounty pure white paper towels. You don't want any with the color designs on them because at the end you're going to be putting a drop of transmission fluid on here, and you don't want those colors to be lost in the purples and the blues and the reds that some of these patterned paper towels have. So you want clear, and you want Bounty too, because when you pour the water through it, these cheaper paper towels, when you're squeezing it, they'll come apart on you. So make sure you get that. You'll also get 2 white containers for your Biomatrix and your clay. The clay granules, the less dust in your clay granules, the better. I like to get the ones that have the bigger clumps of clay versus the finer ones, and that works the best right there on your demonstration. So that's all your contents. Your paintbrush, you may want to pick up a couple more of these. The paintbrushes are, good to have spares because you tend to leave one behind. You get to your next demo, you lost your paintbrush and you're pushing stuff around with your fingers, and that's not very good. So, lastly, a Teflon pan. The Teflon cookie sheets you can buy any grocery store. The Teflon coated ones work the best. When you're putting paint and stuff like that on there, they clean up easier, and that's the way to go. Every now and then when you get through with the demonstration, you might put some solvent down, and that'll get a lot of that excess paint off when you're doing cleanup. I only use this about 10 demonstrations. Now, let's get right to the demonstration. When you're putting your oil down, you want to put probably about 2 spills, about 2 inches in diameter. Put your clay product down on one. Be liberal with it. And on your second one, your Biomatrix, and be just as liberal, because we're going to use this again and again. So your customers don't need to worry about objecting to how much you put down. In fact, if you want to put more clay down, it doesn't matter because the clay's not going to work that well. And we're going to use some more clay again. Now, when you get to raking the products around, you don't want to be dabbing around with your brush too much. You just want to pull all of the excess off. And what we're demonstrating here is the wicking power. You want to stress that these piles sit in shops for days, if not weeks, before they get attended to. And when they do finally get picked up, there's an oily residue underneath. And you can see all of the oil underneath here that hasn't been picked up. You might roll it around a little bit and pick up some more until you get a nice black clumpy loads of clay here. Pick it up with a paper towel, pick it up with your fingers, roll it around in your hands and show how the oil is releasing and leaching off into your hands. The Biomatrix, same thing, brush it back and then just take the ends of your brush and then just push it forward. Usually you only need to do this a couple of times, a couple of swirls, and your surface is completely dry. There's no oily residue. Then take some excess Biomatrix on all the oil that was left behind on the clay side. Again, use the front of your brush and just push it back across, back over here. Couple of swirls, show them. No oily residue, completely dry surface. Then you're going to pile it up over here. Practice this at home 2 or 3 times in front of your wife, girlfriend, kids, whatever. And after a couple times, you'll be a pro at this. After that, you put a hole in the Biomatrix and you fill it to the top with your ATF. And what I like to do, and I'm glad that this thing's not cut, is in preparation before your demonstration, take your pocket knife out and make sure that you clip the tops of these. The nipple on these things, the opening is about the size of a pin. So you want to come down about 1/8 of an inch, not below that little ridge there that holds your red cap on, but about 1/8 of an inch, and cut the top off. That'll save a lot of time when you're doing demonstrations because this squirts out a lot faster. So you fill this all the way to the top. Okay? Leave the cap off because you're going to use it again later. Now, as this is working, so you're not standing there and just sitting there waiting for this oil to go down, go ahead and grab your paint. This will shorten your demonstration because as this one's going, you can be demonstrating the paint. And be careful that you don't get too much Biomatrix mixed in with your cat litter, because if you get these mixed together, keep them separate on separate sides of the pan, the little Biomatrix in that clay will make that clay look a whole lot better than it really is. So then you're going to take the rest of that clay that we had, or a good percentage of it, and you're going to move about the paint. And as you move it about the pan, it's leaching. And then over in this corner, you're going to park the yellow clay, and all you point out to the customer is that all we're left behind with is yellow rock, and the paint is on the outside, which is what you're trying to stress there. Then take a little more paint and add it to the residue that was left behind. Start on this side with your Biomatrix. Just put your little pile there on the end. And then just start working the Biomatrix across the paint. And then using the ends of your brush, again, just like you did the oil, just move it about, swirl it around, and you're just trying to make sure that all your paint is getting off the bottom here. Show them that your pan's completely dry. And then my favorite part is picking up the peat moss and showing them that there's no yellow. The Biomatrix is just as brown as it was when you poured it out. This is showing that what we're talking about, the encapsulation of our product, we're absorbing on the inside and encapsulating it. the kitty litter or the clay granules, it's on the outside. Bad for the environment, good for the environment. Also, depending on how oily or saturated your clay is, you'll see that as that clay just sit on the pan, it left a lot of oil residue behind there. You can always make that part of your demonstration. Throw some of that biomatrix over there and clean that oil residue. The paint will do the same thing. When you move that rock around, at the end of the demonstration, it'll leave residue behind it. And once you're done doing the paint, now remember, what we're showing them is we've used this to clean up oil, we've used it to clean up transmission fluid, and we've used this to clean up paint, and now we're going to show solvent, and we're using the same product, so we're not having to reach in and grab our biomatrix over and over again. As long as this is milk chocolate brown, then it's got plenty of room to go. So we're going to add our solvent, and you just spray it. Now, you don't want to cut the tip of this. This is the only one of your bottles that you don't cut the tip, because this stuff is so light, it'll go right through, and you really can't squirt it fast enough. The peat moss to absorb it almost as fast as you can squirt it. And you want to squirt, 5 or 10 seconds, show them that it's immediately going away, and show them that Biomatrix is the absorbent of choice on all your fuel spills. Once you've done that, you can turn their attention back to the transmission fluid. You can show them that there's only a little drop in the middle. If you choose, you can take a little pinch and throw it on top of that drop, then it's all gone. And then once you're done with that, push this aside and clear you off a spot here for your water. Take your 2 cups, set them down. Take your water. Fill it up about halfway full. One of the reasons you want a big water container, so you can get it there, you want to fill it about halfway full. Take your transmission fluid. Now, it's important that you don't squirt the transmission fluid where it hits the bottom of the glass. Not good. So just barely drizzle it in there until you get a good 1/4 of an inch of transmission fluid on there. Hold it up. Show them you got a 1/4 inch of oil on there. Take your Biomatrix. Now, you want to be liberal with this. Remember, you're going to be squeezing this. So I don't care that you use exactly enough to pick it up. In fact, you want to be able to show them kind of a tide mark where the Biomatrix is going to absorb to about halfway up. So you want half dry and half saturated, because when you pour this into the paper towel, you're going to want some room when you start applying pressure to the saturated. Instead of it going into the towel, it's going to go right into the dry Biomatrix, which is a more powerful wicking agent than the towel. That's the secret. Okay? Always hold up and show them the little tiny air bubbles in the bottom there. And then when you put your towel down, you want to take it, make you a little cup there, and then pour the water. And then once you get it down to about halfway, go ahead and just flip it in there. Tap the excess Biomatrix in there. Set your cup down. Pull all 4 corners of the paper towel up so you don't lose any. Let it drip dry. And then, to impress them even further, take it and make a fist. And you want to squeeze it like you're squeezing a hard egg. Not a hard-boiled egg, but just a regular egg. And you don't want to squeeze it too hard where you crush the egg, but just enough to get the water, to release the water. And then you hold it up, show them that there's no color swirls, and there's no oily residue. After that, take your towel out, show them both sides that there's no transmission fluid, and then I like to take my transmission fluid and just in the top one of the corners just put a drop of it and then show them if a drop had gotten through, it would be very clearly seen on the paper towel. This is the reason we use pure white and not the color pattern paper towels. Okay? And by the end of that demonstration, they'll be calling you David Copperfield, because it is truly that impressive. So it looks like a magic show, but it's not. Thanks a lot.